faithful Niner Empire. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Welcome back to week 8 of What's Good with yours truly, your host, Jay in the Bay. Huge shout out to the 49ers Cutback. And hey, the 49ers are on a 2-game losing streak, but what's a better way for the 49ers to get back on track than to face the hated division rival, the LA Rams, in LA, Levi South, bring it on. This is a must-win game, I think, for the 49ers, not only just to stop this losing streak, but just for the morale. The NFL season is weird. It's 17 games. It's like every game, if we lose, fire Shanahan, get rid of Lynch. They don't know what they're doing. When we win, we could go to the Super Bowl. So the NFL season is so funny. But I think just for the morale of the team, morale of the fan base, which, hey, fans is short for fanatic. We know there are different waves of fans, but I think it'll be great to get a win on the road. And then I think we'll feel much better going into the bye week with a 4-4 record instead of a 3-5 record. But how crazy is it that we're back where we were last season, same record. But this LA Rams team, they are getting some guys back. Van Jefferson, Allen, cornerback Troy Hill, they're all practicing this week. We'll see what type of impact they'll have in the game if they play. But that would be huge for the LA Rams to get some playmakers back on the offensive side of the ball and get one of their best cornerbacks on their team. The 49ers, unfortunately, Debo, he's got the hammy. We'll see what happens if he plays. Jawan Jennings is battling also a hamstring. Hopefully Charvarius Ward plays. Obviously, we would love to have our best cornerback on the field, but I think the injury report is something that both teams will have to monitor as the week progresses. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. Both quarterbacks have struggled within the last 3 games. Jimmy G has thrown 3 interceptions in the last 2 games. Matt Stafford has thrown 3 interceptions in his last 3 games. So both quarterbacks aren't really playing at their best level right now. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to whichever team does not turn the ball over. I think that's who could win this game. But before we get into all that, let's get into Jay's 5 big things.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 big things.
Number 1, as I alluded to before, whoever wins the turnover battle. You look at the 49ers last 2 games that we've lost the turnover battle. Jimmy G threw 2 INTs versus Atlanta. He threw 1 interception versus the Chiefs. He also had a fumble versus the Chiefs. So this team is not good enough to win games when we do not win the turnover battle. So we have to protect the football. No fumbles. Jimmy, please, no interceptions. You look at Jimmy G's stat line, it's not terrible. 9 TDs, 4 interceptions. That's kind of his career average, a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. But Jimmy is 7-0 in the regular season versus the LA Rams. So he plays his best versus the LA Rams. But Jimmy, we can't have any turnovers. We cannot give the Rams extra opportunities to score. So let's get on to number 2 of Jay's big things. This 49ers third down defense it's been pretty bad the last 2 weeks versus Atlanta, versus KC. This defense is going to have to play much better, especially on third down. We need to keep teams, I think, to a 30% conversion rate. That's one of the best conversion rates in the NFL. Honestly, I don't know if this 49ers defense can do that anymore. With the injuries up the middle of the field on this defense and Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, Emmanuel Mosley not on this squad is a completely different secondary. Jimmy Ward, I love you, but playing with the club, and he's going to be playing in the slot this week versus Cooper Kupp. I don't like that matchup. But and one way for this defense to play better, it's got to be on third down. You cannot allow teams to have extended drives. You got to force teams to punt. Whatever you got to do, blitzing, you know, making sure you know your assignment and sticking to that assignment. Don't try to play hero ball out there. Just stick to your assignment. But 49ers got to do much better on third down. If the Rams have 12 chances to convert on third down, they need to have no more than 4 conversions. And I think that's going to be very key for this 49ers defense to have a successful day. Number 3. Man, I can literally say this in every game. The best teams in the NFL do not hurt themselves by committing penalties and committing turnovers. Last week, we had 10 penalties versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's not winning football. That's not a part of a winning football formula. You got to play button-up football. And it's funny, the LA Rams actually are one of the least penalized teams in the NFL, if you can believe that, but it's true. That's one other area where this team needs to improve, especially on the offensive line, on special teams. We just have to button it up, got to play clean football. Hopefully we can have under 5 penalties or less. That's what I'm hoping for. Number 4, protection is key. Hey, Jimmy G plays his best football when he's protected. The last 2 weeks, he was not protected very well. I think Jimmy G does move well for Jimmy G standards in the pocket. We've seen him, move his shoulders to the left, move his shoulders to the right, move up inside the pocket and make throws. But also we've seen Jimmy where when he gets blitzed, he just freaks out. He starts throwing balls in the air when he shouldn't, like we saw on that goal line interception versus KC. So, McGlinchey, he had one of his worst games I've ever seen him in a 49er uniform. Hopefully he can bounce back, but now he's got to go against Leonard Floyd and possibly Aaron Donald. We know Aaron Donald sometimes likes to line up opposite of an offensive tackle. So the interior of our offensive line has actually been pretty good. Burford, Banks hasn't given up a sack. Brindle's been, he's been the weak point in that offensive line. I'm expecting a bounce back game from the big silver back in Trent Williams. He was coming back from the ankle injury. He didn't look great. Hopefully another week, he'll look even better versus the LA Rams, but got to protect Jimmy G. That's going to be a huge key in this game for Jimmy G and this Niners offense to be successful. Number 5. Got to get back to basics on D. One of the reasons this defense was so well was we were able to get after the quarterback. Stafford is a statue in the backfield. I don't expect him to be running all over the field like he's Pat Mahomes. And also this defense got turnovers. And that's one thing we haven't really seen from a 49ers defense under Kyle Shanahan. I guess in 2019, we kind of did. And I think for the beginning of this year, we did. We were getting turnovers. We had a turnover last week with the interception by Huff. And I think we're definitely going to have to do that. Stafford has thrown an interception in 3 straight games, and let's make it 4. And I think we need to get an interception. We need to get some easy and additional opportunities for this offense to score. And the way you do that is you turn the ball over, whether it be a fumble, whether it be an interception. I think that's key for this 49ers defense. And we didn't get any pressure really on Pat Mahomes. That's something that's going to have to improve. Nick Bosa will be in his 2nd week back from the groin injury, so hopefully he'll play better. And this Rams offensive line, let's face it, it's putrid. It's one of the worst in the NFL. And the 49ers need to take advantage of that weakness. That's what the great teams do. You take advantages of weaknesses and you exploit it. So that's what the 49ers defense needs to do. And let's get into the next segment.
Hey, Jay!
All right, we've got some questions from some viewers. We have the boss here. What's good? The boss says, how do you slow down Cooper Kupp? You can't. I mean, Cooper Kupp is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You definitely can't shut him down, slow him down. I think the only way is you got to pressure Stafford. You got to make Stafford feel uncomfortable in the pocket. Honestly, I don't think we have the corners right now to slow down Cooper Kupp. I don't think Mooney Ward is going to line up with Cooper Kupp if Cooper Kupp is in the slot. I don't think we've really seen Mooney do that. So it's either going to be Sammy Womack or Jimmy Ward in that slot working on Cooper Kupp, and that is not a favorable matchup for the 49ers. So it's pressure Stafford and get him off his game. The Rams are one of the worst rushing offenses in the NFL. They only average about 70 yards per game. That's actually second worst in the NFL. So they're going to be passing the ball a lot. I think that's good news for the defensive line to get after the quarterback, not necessarily good news for our secondary, which is not obviously at full strength. But we're going to have to, I think Cooper Kupp's going to get his. We just can't let other guys get catches. I think that's going to have to be the game plan. I don't think we're going to be able to slow down Cooper Kupp. We're just going to have to get after Stafford, get pressure on him, and don't let other guys beat us. And get some interceptions on Stafford, of course. Appreciate the question, though, boss. SG Sports Talk. What's good? All right. SG says top 5 49ers of all time. Man, what a great question. I'm going to answer this in 2 parts. So this is a great question. So obviously top 5 of all time. Part 1 would be Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Steve Young, and Ronnie Lott. Now, I'll give you my top 5 49ers of the past 20, 22 years. Because that's a more interesting list. I think you could have all types of names in that list. So I would go with Terrell Owens, one of my favorite 49ers of all time, Frank Gore, Bryant Young, and Patrick Willis. Those are my, and I'll give you one more. I would say, man, I could go in a lot of ways with this one. I'm going to say, I'll say Navarro Bowman. That'll be my top 5 in the past 20, 22 years. Appreciate the question, though, SG. All right, we got No Border Sports. What's good? No Border says, we don't run much outside zone anymore. Is our line undersized for what we are running? That's an interesting question. I mean, when you look at Trent Williams, obviously he's at that left tackle spot. Aaron Banks isn't a typical Kyle Shanahan guard. Usually Kyle Shanahan likes his guards to be on the smaller stature so that way they can pull. And he likes quick and shifty guards, but we don't really have those types of guards on this roster. Jake Brendel, I think it's going to be his 1 year, and I don't think he'll be the starting center next year. McGlinchey, I think his status next year is up in the air. I'd be surprised if he's back on the squad. But, I don't know why we don't run outside zone. I don't think it's necessarily the players. I just think for whatever reason, Shanahan wants to run in between the guard and tackle for whatever reason. But I think we should add that to this offense. We can't be predictable in this offense. We can't continue to run up the middle. Shanahan does, Jimmy G, he does have Jimmy G do the tosses, but usually they cut back inside. If we do the tosses where they go outside the tackle and the tight end, I think that would be, that would add another dimension to this offense. I think Shanahan should do that. I'm not sure why he doesn't, though. But great question, MBS.
Fadeaway J.
All right, now it's time for Fadeaway J. This is obviously it's not a must-win game in the standings for the 49ers, but just for morale, I think this is a must-win game. And it would be great for the team to get a victory. Obviously, we're not where we want to be. You could argue that no NFC team is not where they want to be. If you're not the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, or the Vikings, outside of those teams, look at the NFC West. There's only one team that has a winning record. I think that's the Seahawks. They're leading the division, and who would have thought that happened? But I think if we get a win, we go into the bye week, we rest up, we get some guys back. Hopefully, Elijah Mitchell comes back. I have no idea if Jason Verrett will play this week. If not, I'd be okay with that because clearly that would mean he's not ready. But I think as long as we continue to get some guys back healthy and get this victory against the Rams, I think that'll go a long way for this squad. And, I think my number one thing that I'll be watching out for, of course, I didn't even mention CMC, Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to get anywhere between 15 to 20 touches. Obviously, he'll be involved in the run game and the pass game. I think he'll be a huge factor in this game, especially if Debo can't play. But I think this is just going to come down to, can the Niners play disciplined football? Can you not beat yourself with penalties? You get a big run or you get a big pass and then you got to bring it back because there's a holding call. There was just flags all over the field last week. It was so annoying to watch. Can the Niners play discipline? No penalties, no turnovers. Can we just play a button-up game? Can the special teams be a net positive for us? I mean, man. Special teams, we got to do special teams, coach. We added players. Like, come on, man, get it together. Can we just see a 4-quarter, penalty-free or at least 5 penalties and under, and no turnovers, on the offensive side of the ball? If we do that, the penalties, no turnovers, and the 49ers defense can get off the field on third down, I see the 49ers winning, and I think the 49ers could win this game 24-17. If the 49ers do those 3 things, I think the 49ers can definitely win this game. Even up their record will be at 500. And then we've got the LA Chargers after the bye week. So thanks again for watching another episode with yours truly, Jay in the Bay. What's good? I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully it'll be we'll be on a 1-game winning streak. Go Niners.